Ladies and gentlemen, Maria Bamford.
Maria Bamford is a truly wondrous comedic force who hails from the state of California. Known for her absurd yet fearless exploration of her own psyche, the remarkable wit and breadth of her writing, and what is generally considered to be an unprecedented and multifaceted approach to performing stand-up, Bamford has starred in numerous films and TV shows, either as a human character or on different cartoons as a voice actor. She has also released many specials and comedy albums, including the 2016 record 20% and the 2017 Netflix docu-special Old Baby. I don't know if a docu-special is an actual name for something, but I'm going to go with it because Old Baby is a bit complicated. It's like a documentary, but it's also a special. It's a bit confusing. Docu-special. I go with docu-special. Bamford was also the star and creative force behind the surreal autobiographical Netflix series Lady Dynamite, which was sadly and inexplicably, as far as I'm concerned, canceled in January of 2018. Speaking of the year 2018, Maria is touring Canada and the United States throughout September, October, November, and December, including stops in Ottawa and also in Toronto for appearances at that city's JFL 42 festival. Maria and I recently had a bit of time to have a talk, and so we discussed things like ants, weddings, hot dog suits, and the real-life inspiration behind the final scene in the series finale of Lady Dynamite, comedian equality, her future plans, and much more. With in-kind support from Pizza Trokadero, The Bookshelf, Planet Bean Coffee in Guelph, Planet of Sound locations in Toronto and Ottawa, and Grandad's Donuts in Hamilton, and, of course, listeners like you who make flexible monthly pledges at patreon.com/creativecontrol. Download episodes, subscribe to this podcast, ask your friends to do the same. You know, people like you who do all of those things. This is the 427th episode of Creative Control, featuring Maria Bamford with your host, me, Vish. Hi, Maria. How are you?
Hello, Vish. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Oh, it's a thrill. It's an absolute thrill. I'm a tremendous fan of you and your work. And first of all, I must ask you, as I do all my guests who are remote, I suppose, where in the world are you today?
Well, I'm in Altadena, California, sitting on a couch with some air conditioning on, trying not to put it on too much. But interesting, I do have air conditioning on, but then I just realized I still have a blanket over myself.
Oh, yeah. You know, my daughter was doing that. We had a heat wave here in Ontario in the summer. This may not mean anything to you, but 30, 40 degrees Celsius with all the various humidex. And she'd walk around with a blanket on. I found that confusing.
Yes. Well, I don't think she's not wrong. I don't know what's going on, but I understand.
Well, it's just the temperature is strange. You don't know how to dress. The air conditioning, you're too cold in your house. I imagine it's warm there in California today.
Yes, it's hot. It's going to be hot. Well, maybe not as hot as yesterday. We can always tell how hot it is with how many ants are trying to take over the house.
Oh, they storm in when it's right. They want shelter too. They're hot.
Yes,
Oh.
yeah, they are very hot, and they have found something that we did not see. They're kind of like a little cleaning crew where they go, "Ooh, you missed a spot. You left a graham cracker crust over here, and we have found it. Thousands of us have found it."
Are you someone who tries to rid yourself of the ants through various means? Because I've had to do that here, and I came up with a method that I'm happy with now.
Oh, I'd love to hear about your method.
Well, it turns out what the ants do is they get into the house, and one of them, I guess it's like the lead ant. Is it the queen? I don't know if the ants, do they have a queen? I'm thinking of bees. But anyway, one of them's like a scout. And the scout goes and says, "Hey, there's food over here." And they use their sense of smell. And they go, and then everyone comes and they go get the food, right? But if you use baby powder, if you sprinkle baby powder along, the floor and the baseboards, they can't smell their way home. So they emerge, and then they can't get home. And I sound like a horrible person right now, but they don't come back. I
You
guess.
are a kind, gentle person, Vish. I love you so much. And because here we have tried baby powder.
Oh, you have. Oh, you have
I
tried
don't
it.
know if these are super strength ants, but they do not care. They, we've tried all sorts of things. We have sprayed them toxically.
Oh
If
man.
you
Okay, that's
spray them toxically with a horrible thing, that actually does work, turns out.
okay.
We might also die. Uh, but uh, but the satisfaction in knowing they won't be back for at least 2 weeks is pretty great. And then, but yeah, we're using this. What is it? It's an orange scented thing that doesn't seem to bother them that much either.
Like a citronella type thing, maybe.
Yeah, everything that's non-toxic
Yeah.
is also the ant doesn't care about that. They're like, oh, what is this wonderful orange spray on my face?
Yeah, I think it speaks to the makeup of the California ant versus the Canadian ant, that the Canadian ant would be deterred and destroyed by baby powder, whereas the California ant is far too hardy for such a thing. I apologize. I thought that might be a
No,
genius eureka moment for you. Oh,
it,
baby powder. Wow.
no, I think it is a wonderful idea. I think we're now getting super ants.
It's probably true at this point. You're probably right. Well, we are speaking because you are performing in Toronto at JFL 42.
Yes.
And I want to ask you about your relationship with the Just for Laughs festival, both as a comedian, as a person who is an American who comes to Canada for a comedy festival. I want to ask you about that in a moment, but it occurs to me that I don't actually know sort of what you're up to these days in terms. We've talked about the ants. That's one thing for sure.
Clearly, that's more important than anything that could ever be going on
I
in
think
one's career.
we might have helped someone try different things. They might be listening right now being like, I never thought of the orange stuff in their face and the baby powder. Maybe I'll get orange baby powder. Maybe that'll work. They might be
Yeah.
thinking about things. But no, what are you kind of up to these days? What are you working on, if I might ask generally?
Just keep doing stand-ups and working on a new hour and that there's that
Yeah.
and
Yeah, no, that's
I
something.
just watched Stuart Lee's content provider and perhaps yes, I definitely am providing content. So yeah, just making stuff and yeah, not that's it.
That's
I think
that's
that's
more,
it.
more than enough. It's not. Don't sell yourself short. That sounds great. I also realize you and I have something in common. Another beyond the ants and liking comedy. You and I have something else in common. I believe. Anyway, that we're both
Yes.
married. Are you? Did you know?
Yes, I'm married.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much. We've been together 3 years, and which is spectacular. And how long have you been married?
Oh, 11. Well, let's see. This will be. Oh no, this is horrible. I forget. No, I was married in the year 2007. So 11 years. 11 years. Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. What is your advice to us
Well,
as a younger married
This
couple?
is what I was going to ask you about, because I don't know. Did you find that people would try to ask you questions about what it's like to be? I guess you just did it to me, but sort of. But we're both in
I
the same.
sure
We're in the
did.
same category, so I don't feel put upon. But did you? Because people will ask you like, well, what's the difference? Because my wife and I were together 5 years, then we got married. And I initially used to say, there's not really a discernible difference. Then we had kids, and then that's different. Like things changed. So my question to you, and I can offer some advice possibly, but I'm sure you're fine. I was going to ask you the annoying question, the potentially annoying question. Do you notice any discernible change between being in a relationship that, there's no marriage and now you're married? Has anything shifted for you?
Well, people are amazed that I've been in a relationship the past year because that was my record.
Mm-hmm.
So people notice that who are in my life, in my circle,
Yes.
and then I think, I guess from what I tell that's different is that it's a public recognition
Yes.
of
Yes.
relationship, and so whatever people put on what that means. So that could mean anything to any individuals, but some people have emotional responses to paperwork. And
Yeah, yeah.
so either that it means something more it does or it does, or I don't know. So that's the response.
Yeah, it used to. That's what I used to say. Well, we had a wedding, so that's what the difference was. We actually everyone came to the wedding, and we got in suits. And I wrote we had two ceremonies in one day. We had a Hindu ceremony and then a
Oh,
Catholic ceremony. So in the morning, I was riding a horse, wearing a garland of money, and I had a sword and a baby. Like that was the weird image of me. I've never done that. But
a real baby
I,
on a
yeah,
horse?
I had a. Well, it would be weird if it was a fake baby, but yes, I had a real my
You never know. Maybe there's a...
my nephew who didn't last very long, by the way. He was not into it, so it was just me, garland of money, Indian suit, and then a sword, and and a horse, and it's fair to say most of my friends had never seen me that way. So that was a fascinating day, and then we made everyone come to the Catholic ceremony too, and it was fun. So I agree with you. I think it's the pomp and the circumstance, it's the public recognition, and I think also I wanted to ask you about something else. I believe paparazzi got into your wedding. A photo began circulating of you and your partner there, and I believe you were wearing a hot dog suit. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. And you know what it was? Is my friend, one of my friends was on Instagram. She she posted a picture to Instagram, and I think she's a person who's a comedian, so it somehow got out that way.
Were you irritated by that, or I can't
Oh
tell?
no, I don't care. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. But it was ridiculous. Just like, oh, uh, we're just we're
Just
just trying to have a fun time over here.
yeah, it didn't.
But yeah, I think that happens if you're having a wedding in Los Angeles and people have a phone.
Yeah, it gets out.
People,
Gets out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and not. I mean, it's it's neat that anybody cares, but then sometimes. Well, anyways, it was no, it was neat.
It
It was
was
fun. It
good. No,
was wonderful.
I wanted to ask about it because my best friend and I, who was my best man at my two weddings, I guess, in one day, same wedding. I should clarify. Did I? I feel like I clarified that. Same person. I'm not. I didn't get married to two different people. It was the same person
No.
the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my best man and he and I have a long running joke about wearing a hot dog suit to a formal function or occasion. Like, what are you going to do? I guess I better rent a hot dog suit. So when I saw you in the hot dog suit, I immediately thought of that. And so I just am curious. I've never done it. Why did you pick a hot dog suit?
It was my husband's inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
He felt, I think, like, because the second we got married in 2 different days, because we got married on our own for ourselves, just in our backyard with a few friends, because I just felt like I just wanted it to be between us on some level,
Sure.
just have a quiet moment. And then we had a second wedding, which my mom planned almost like her graduation party and invited, lots of strangers and, hundreds of people,
Her friends mostly, probably.
mostly her friends,
Yeah.
but certainly, our friends too. So it was, and they, foot, uh, most of the bill, my mom, because she got to decide on everything. And I was like, right on. And so that was our final, our part of the wedding is that we wore hot dog costumes.
So what is it like in a hot dog suit? And do you have? You say it was your husband's idea, but do you have a particular affinity for hot dogs, or?
Not so, I mean, I'm not against a hot dog. It's not my go-to, downfall food.
Okay. Downfall
Um,
food. I've never heard of someone refer to some.
well, like in terms of, oh, I have to have another one
I see.
right now.
Okay.
Or if I don't have that within an hour, once I've seen it, things get hard.
Yes.
Like I do have a few of those where if there's a ice cream with a combination of chewy chocolate chip cookie bits inside of it, if I'm near something like that and have access to it,
Yeah.
if there's a scoop or things are gonna get serious.
I understand. Okay, so that would be you weren't paying tribute to the hot dog per se. It was
No,
just,
it was just fun. Put on a costume. And it was a surprise, and
yeah.
um, my husband thought it'd be fun because my mom didn't know about it, and it was fun because my mom goes,
I,
"Ah,
I will
what
say
else?"
I found it amusing and curious myself. And did you have music? I'm a music fan. I talked to lots of musicians. Did you have music at any of your
We
weddings?
we had my husband painstakingly made a very specific playlist, like of all he loves music
Hmm.
and has very specific tastes, what he wanted played, all these different, found it said, "Oh, I'll bring all these records," stuff like that. The guy's like, "No, I've got it."
Hmm.
The guy did not play one, any. He played really the typical Steve Miller Band,
Yeah.
Rock Lobster. It was bizarre.
Right.
So he just said it didn't really care, but it was hilarious because it was very memorable to go, wow. So he just said, no, none of these. Just played whatever he wanted, and it was funny because Scott's friends, are all music fans, and they're like, you wanted, I want to rock on road all night and party every day. Is this Maria's? Is this Maria's pick?
Wedding DJs are kind of like the computer IT guy. They know what they're doing and you don't. Like that's it. Leave me alone. I know what I'm doing and you're not smart enough. I think that's what's going on.
I think so too. Like I was like, okay, so he must have said because I mean it did go well. Everybody danced.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean it's a
So
celebratory day. Yeah, I think people were. It's good. You have friends who are there for you despite the curmudgeonly DJ. I think that's a testament to you and your husband's, social circle. So I think that's good. I mentioned that you're coming to Toronto, and I wanted to ask you about Just for Laughs because I feel like as Canadians we don't we're not a particularly boastful people as a generalization. Some of us are obviously, but I'm just curious, like. Can you, as an American, as a comedian, articulate what, if you feel this way, is JFL and Just for Laughs, JFL 42, is it special? Is it particularly special in the landscape of comedy?
well, I think everything. I think everything in life is subjective. So,
Right, right, sure.
and that feeling of sense of being asked to do something that not everyone's asked to do. You get a feeling of specialness, especially if it involves money and your picture being taken. So
Right.
with that,
How can you turn that down? Yeah.
yeah. Oh my God. How there's a sense your heart swells
Yeah. Right.
towards any organization that involves those activities. Um, so I think I'm pretty biased at that point, in that I've been able to go a number of times, and I think it's been very positive for me. I think I know in Montreal, they said this year now they're going to pay the new faces, which I think is really great because there is that tradition of not paying new faces at all, and
Yep.
then
Yep.
so they'd have to. I think they have to pay their way there for a ticket at the last minute, which is at least $1,200 to get. I mean, if you're coming from Los Angeles, like at the last minute to get the flight, because the flights are all packed.
Are you speaking? We think of you as a very established comedian, but it sounds to me like you're speaking from personal experience.
No.
Oh no.
I'm
Okay.
speaking from what I have heard is the reality of that situation, or
Right. Okay.
that and I guess that just as a person who's paid very well to
Hmm.
come,
Hmm.
and when the productions are so slick and so gorgeous, and the top of talent is coming there, like that was a concern to me. There
Yeah.
felt very strange.
You have empathy. You have empathy for your fellow emerging comedians.
Yeah, that people are borrowing money or not being able to eat.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
trying to wait until the late at night things so that where there might be free food around, like, and that's the same thing in all industries where there's this huge disparity between, or it seems like now, between the very rich and the people who are actually the lifeblood of the whole, whether that's in comedy or if that's in service industry or whatever you're going to talk about, the people who actually, the worker, you're not necessarily benefiting. I mean, not that people don't. Yeah, so I'm going to go into a discussion of socialism.
No, I will say
when you just asked about JFL, but
yeah, it's fair, totally fair. And by the way, I will say you're not the first comedian on my show to talk about this kind of thing. So don't feel self-conscious if that's what you're.
Yeah, and I think going there for so long, you start hearing, oh, yeah, that's right. It's mostly American comedians. Why isn't it more Canadians or who come to the comedy festival? Anyways, I thought, I mean, of course, as an American, sadly, I did not think about that until someone told me about it. And I was like, all right, like that is weird. And we don't, we had the Aspen Comedy Festival for a number of years, but now there are all these homegrown festivals in the U.S., which is really great. And they haven't yet been bought up by Viacom. So
yeah, no, I appreciate. Unfortunately, I feel badly. We're running out of time. I know that, and I wish we had more time to chat.
Okay.
Yeah, about these things.
No, and I'm sorry. I go on.
No, you don't at all. No, I believe me. I'm the one who brought up the hot dog suit. Probably not germane to anything per se, but I was just curious about it. We do have to go. I want to ask you, and I didn't even get to tell you. I'll just tell you. Lady Dynamite was wonderful. If that helps you in your day at all, I thought it was the best. I've never seen anything like it, and I miss it. And thank you for being you and making the work that you do, and for Lady Dynamite. I just want to say that I was going to ask you questions about it, but like I say, we're out of time. So all I will say is, what is the current show like? Is it possible to articulate that? Do you have anything you want to share about what people can expect?
Yes, it's well, it's going to be well performed, and as well written as I possibly can, and it will last exactly an hour.
Okay, that is a nice nutshell moment. We do have to go. I just want to ask you if you can pick anything from your catalog of bits. Is there something we can go out on? Is there something that comes to mind?
Let me see. The Carol Grisham therapy song, if you have that somewhere on your... Okay.
Okay, Maria, thank you so much for this. Best of luck with everything, and I hope we speak again sometime.
Thanks so much, Vish. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
My husband and I, we go see a therapist because we don't know what we're doing. And we don't know if it's helping, but we have written a song about her. Cheryl Hersham. You can go to Cheryl Hersham because she reflects back what your partner's trying to say to you, and it normalizes conflict. Cheryl Hersham. Scott freaked out because I locked him in the garage by accident for 2 hours, and he's like, oh my God, I'm with somebody who doesn't even notice I'm not there. And he told Cheryl Hersham, and she kind of giggled, and he was irritated and felt unsafe. But then we all laughed. I freaked out because Scott peed in the backyard, and I'm like, oh my God, I would go in Grey Gardens here, and I'm going to start collecting wet newspaper. And I told Cheryl Hersham, and she said, sometimes my son pees in the backyard and it helps scare away the deer. I'm like, where do you live, Altadena? She has long silver hair that you can tell she sets in hot rollers because she cares about herself. And she has this Thomas Kincaid painting, don't judge her for that, and this magazine in her waiting room, 19 copies, a magazine called Bipolar. And I'm like, hey, can I have one of those? And she said, no.
Every time I go to Cheryl Hersham, we can't remember the code to get in. Is it 4002? Is it 2004? I thought you wrote it down. You put it in your phone. I didn't bring my phone because I thought we're supposed to be more mindful and be off social media when we're together. It's your fault. No, it's your fault. Wait. It's our fault. We get to solve this together. We're a team.
That was the amazing Maria Bamford on the 427th episode of Creative Control, which is part of the Entertainment One podcast network and available on all iOS and Android platforms, and also on things like Spotify, YouTube, and Audio Boom as well. If you can't find an episode that you've heard about and are looking for on any of those platforms, or if you want to learn more about me and sign up for my regularly scheduled newsletter, please visit my website, vishkhanna.com. It's spelled just how it sounds, vishkhanna.com. You can like Creative Control on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Vish Creative, or follow me at Vish Khanna. You can also listen to a radio show version of Creative Control on Wednesdays at noon Eastern Standard Time around the world at cfru.ca, or on an actual radio at 93.3 FM if you're in or near Guelph. Also visit patreon.com/Creative Control to make a flexible monthly donation and to keep this podcast going. I thank all of you who have been doing this. We have a very modest Patreon, but it means a lot to me. It would be nice if it could grow, just so I know what's possible, in case maybe this is all I want to do someday, but right now it doesn't seem like I can. Patreon.com/Creative Control. That would be great. Oh, also, I'd like to thank the in-kind support I receive on the show from the likes of Pizza Trokadero, The Bookshelf, Planet Bean Coffee, Planet of Sound, Grandad's Donuts, and I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I want to thank my friend Jim Guthrie. He lets me use the instrumental version of his song The Rest Is Yet to Come to end the show each and every week, and he's done so again this week. He hasn't asked me to stop yet. I wonder if he will. He might. I don't think he listens this far into the show. Anyway, thanks to Jim. JimGuthrie.org for more info about him. And finally, of course, thank you for listening to this program and telling your friends about it and giving it nice ratings and reviews and downloading episodes and subscribing to the podcast. That's the best way to really keep tabs on the thing. Whatever your platform is that you use, whatever podcast thing you use, subscribe to the show. That would be great. And that's it. I will talk to you very, very soon. Bye for now.